Have you ever seen the quietest person in school, the one no one notices, suddenly rise up and completely shock everyone? This is the story of a shy girl who was laughed at, bullied, and set up to fail at the biggest school dance of the year. But what happened next left the entire gym speechless. And before we dive in, if you love your mom and dad, hit that subscribe button right now and show some love to her, because today's story is one you'll never forget. Her name was Emily Carter, and she was the kind of girl who could sit in the back of a classroom for an entire semester and most people wouldn't remember she was even there. She wasn't unpopular because she was unkind or unfriendly. She was simply quiet, reserved, and always lost in her notebooks full of doodles and half-written poems. She had this long chestnut brown hair that she usually let fall over her face like a curtain, and her eyes were the kind you might overlook until you saw them in the right light. Bright, piercing, and full of depth. Emily lived in a small town where everyone knew everyone else's business. And at Westfield High, reputations mattered more than grades, more than kindness, sometimes even more than family. And among those reputations, few loomed larger than the group of seniors who thought they owned the school, the self-proclaimed kings and queens of Westfield. This group was led by a boy named Jason Miller, captain of the basketball team, tall, charming, with a smile that could win over any teacher or parent but a mean streak that left quieter kids dreading his attention. Alongside him was his girlfriend Madison, a cheerleader who carried herself with a kind of cruel grace, and a tight circle of friends who were just as quick to laugh at someone's misstep as they were to praise each other. They didn't notice Emily most days, but when they did, it was usually to whisper a joke at her expense, mock the way she dressed, simple jeans and sweaters instead of flashy brands, or laugh at the way she froze up when asked to speak in front of class. Emily tried to ignore them, tried to tell herself that high school was temporary and that in a few years none of this would matter. But that was easier said than done. The announcement of the spring dance stirred excitement throughout Westfield High. It was the event of the season, the one night when even the quiet kids could step into the gym transformed by lights, music, and the hope of possibility. For Emily, the dance didn't mean much, at least not at first. She never planned to go. She had no date, no group of friends to get ready with, and the thought of standing alone in the decorated gym felt more humiliating than staying home. But fate has a way of changing plans. Her only real friend, Sarah, begged her to come along. "You never know, Sarah said, her voice full of hope. "Sometimes nights like these change everything." Emily wanted to believe her, but her heart sank at the thought of being surrounded by the very people who made her life difficult. What Emily didn't know was that Jason and Madison had already decided the dance would be the perfect stage for their next cruel joke. They had watched Emily shrink away from attention all year, and in their twisted minds, nothing would be funnier than dragging her into the spotlight at the one event where everyone would be watching. Madison, with her signature fake smile, told her friends, "We'll make her cry at the dance. She'll never forget it." And they laughed, plotting in whispers how they would set her up for embarrassment. The night of the dance arrived, and the gymnasium was transformed with twinkling lights strung across the ceiling, balloons in school colors, and a rented DJ blasting music that shook the bleachers. Emily stood outside in the parking lot for several minutes before gathering the courage to walk in. She wore a simple pale blue dress, borrowed from her cousin. That wasn't flashy but highlighted her natural beauty in a way she didn't even notice. Her hair was loose, brushed straight for once, and Sarah gasped when she saw her. "Emily, you look amazing," she whispered. But Emily's eyes were already darting nervously to the entrance of the gym, where groups of friends posed for photos and couples laughed arm in arm. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. First, nothing happened. The music was loud, the floor was packed with dancing students, and Emily managed to slip into a corner with Sarah, watching quietly. But Jason and Madison had already spotted her. With smirks, they put their plan into motion. The DJ, who often catered to Jason's requests, announced over the mic, "And now, a special performance from one of our very own, Emily Carter." The spotlight turned, blinding her as laughter rippled through the crowd. Emily froze in place, her heart pounding, her legs heavy as stone. She hadn't prepared anything, hadn't even wanted to be here. She could hear Madison's cruel voice from somewhere near the front. "Come on, Emily, show us what you've got." Whispers spread, students chuckled, and the air thickened with anticipation. Not because they wanted to see Emily shine, but because they wanted to see her fail. Sarah grabbed her arm, whispering urgently, "You don't have to do this." But Emily, trembling, realized that if she walked away now, if she let them laugh her off the stage, the humiliation would follow her for the rest of the year. Something inside her, something she didn't know she had, rose up. With shaky steps, she walked to the center of the dance floor, the crowd parting around her. The DJ hesitated, but Emily spoke into the microphone with a voice stronger than she expected. "Play something slow, something classic." The opening notes of a piano ballad filled the gym. Emily closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and began to dance. Not the awkward shuffling she had shown in gym class, but the kind of dancing she had practiced in secret in her room for years, moving with elegance and emotion. The crowd's laughter faded into stunned silence as she spun, leaped, and moved with a grace no one had imagined from the quiet girl in the back of the classroom. Her dress flowed, her hair caught the light, and with every movement she seemed to pour out the years of being overlooked, the pain of whispered jokes, the strength she had hidden all along. Madison's smile faltered, Jason's smirk disappeared, and the crowd erupted. Not in laughter, but in cheers. Phones came out, capturing every moment, and by the end of her performance, the gym was roaring with applause. Emily stood breathless, her chest rising and falling, staring at the faces around her in disbelief. For the first time, people weren't looking at her as a joke. They were seeing her for who she really was. But the story didn't end there. Jason, humiliated that his plan had backfired, tried to take back control. He grabbed the mic and sneered, "Don't get carried away. It's just one dance." But before he could say more, something remarkable happened. Students who had once laughed at Emily started booing Jason instead. "Sit down, man," someone shouted. "Let her have this." Madison tried to rally her friends, but the tide had turned, and suddenly the so-called kings and queens of Westfield weren't the ones controlling the crowd anymore. In that moment, Emily realized she didn't have to be invisible. She didn't have to shrink away from attention or let other people define her worth. The quiet girl had become the center of the room, not because of cruelty, but because of her strength. The video of her dance spread across the school within hours, then across town by the next day. Teachers congratulated her. Classmates who had ignored her suddenly wanted to talk to her. And for once, Jason and Madison had nothing to say. The rest of the school year was different. Emily wasn't suddenly the most popular girl. She didn't want to be, but she walked through the halls with her head held high, no longer afraid of whispers or laughter. Sarah beamed with pride every time she saw her friend smile. And when graduation came, people didn't remember Emily Carter as the quiet girl in the back of the class. They remembered her as the girl who stood up, danced, and shocked the entire school. So what do you think? If you were in Emily's shoes, would you have had the courage to stand up and turn the moment around? Or would you have walked away? And before you go, let me know in the comments, from which part of the country are you watching this story?